Hey, I'm Samnang. This is SNJ Pride, the place where two men who've been together for over 11 years keep it all the way real about coming out, love, and everything in between. If you've ever felt alone, stuck, or scared real love isn't possible for you, you're in the right place. Take a breath.
And I'm James. We're not your therapists. We're two guys who lived through our own messy, beautiful story. We share what we learned, so you don't have to feel like you're walking this road alone.
Picture an apartment with two doorbells. One had our legal name, the one you put on forms and use to get the mail. The other, the smaller buzzer on the hallway wall, had a different name, a tiny sticker, a different label. Little domestic decisions like that became the scaffolding for a life I didn't feel safe enough to show. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of that apartment, the choreography of secrecy, the neighbor who noticed, the tiny act that started everything shifting, and the safety first steps we learned along the way. When you live a split life, everything becomes a scene. There were rehearsals, how I arrived, where I parked, what time I took out the trash. Meetings happened in the stairwell, so family wouldn't notice two cars. I learned to read faces in the hallway, to listen for footsteps that might be someone I had to hide from. Small rituals kept the secret safe, and in a strange way, that secrecy felt like survival. There was a rhythm to it, a coded knock, 3 taps, pause, 2 taps, that meant come in through the back. A single pair of shoes left by the door meant stay for dinner. A different name on the buzzer meant the person downstairs would assume it was a roommate or a cousin. Those gestures were careful and small, but they were huge in their consequence. They let us be together while pretending not to be.
I remember when you told me about the buzzer change. I didn't fully understand then how much energy you spent choreographing those moments. I hear you. That took a kind of bravery too, trying to protect yourself and protect us.
The neighbor who noticed was the unexpected character in the story. He was an older man who lived on the first floor. He started leaving small things by our door. A grocery bag once, a note another time. I've seen you two laughing in the stairwell. Keep your heads up. At first, I thought, he doesn't know. Then I realized maybe he did know more than he let on. That kind of quiet kindness felt dangerous and beautiful at the same time. I remember one night my sister and her boyfriend were coming from out of town. I went into panic mode. The family name on the mailbox, the photos in the hallway, the risk that a casual hello in the stairwell would become a question I wasn't ready to answer. I ran a checklist in my head. Who would be there? What would they notice? Which doors could be closed? Which stories could hold? That panic, that rapid calculation of loss is a real thing. It feels like your world could disintegrate in a single knock.
And from where I sat, I could feel your fear. I remember thinking, how do I support him without pushing him? What if my own desire to be open made things harder? It was a delicate balance. I tried to listen first, to ask, where do you feel safe? What would be too much right now?
The turning point was almost ridiculous in its smallness. One evening, I swapped the name on the buzzer. Not out of bravado, I tested it slowly. I changed the sticker, stood at the sink, and waited to see who would ring. A few minutes later, the older neighbor buzzed our unit and then hesitated outside our door. He left a single pair of shoes on our mat and walked away. That tiny object, a pair of shoes, suddenly felt like a sign. It made the private life impossible to keep exactly private because it put a trace in the world that was visible to others. That same week, my sister was visiting. She noticed the shoes. She asked casually, "Oh, who are those for?" I froze. In that single breath, I ran the calculus again. The love I had, the safety I might lose, the shame my family had taught me to feel. I chose a half-truth and a delay. I said, "Oh, a friend from work," and the conversation moved on. But the moment landed like a stone. It made me see how the scaffolding of secrecy was also scaffolding for fear.
What I learned in that moment was how slowly truth can move. It doesn't have to be a dramatic reveal. Sometimes the first step is a small test, a doorbell, a shoe, a stray invitation. What mattered, what still matters, is the safety plan behind it. We learn to ask, if this changes, who do we tell first? Where can we stay? What documents do we protect? That planning kept us grounded, not reckless.
Okay, lessons. 4 things I wish I'd known and can share with you now. Safety first, from our lived experience. 1. Test the water slowly. Replace a sticker. Leave a personal item. Invite someone over who is discreet and watch responses. 2. Choose your first witnesses deliberately. Pick people who have protected others, who have shown kindness, not only those you hope will understand. 3. Set clear boundaries with family before you expand your circle. Decide what you will answer and what you will defer. And 4. Build small rituals of authenticity that don't demand everything at once. A photo on the shelf, a shared meal with one trusted person, a text that names your partner out loud.
And I want to add, keep a simple safety checklist. We kept copies of important documents, a bag with essentials ready, and a code word that meant don't come over if a visit felt risky. Those practical steps are not dramatic, but they protect you. They let you move towards honesty without gambling your safety.
If you're listening and you're sitting in that split life right now, feeling like home is 2 different places, hear me. You don't have to rush. You have permission to move slowly and protectively. The small acts are courageous. Changing a buzzer name wasn't the entire solution for us. It was the first pebble that started the slide of truth. Safety first. Plan, practice, choose your people.
And if this episode stirred up a lot for you, please consider talking to a therapist or a trusted support person. We are not professionals. We're storytellers, sharing what we learned. But there are people trained to help you plan next steps. You deserve that support.
If this hit home, subscribe and share this episode with someone you trust. Tell us in the comments, what small domestic thing carried a big secret for you? If you don't feel ready to share details, just say, I hear you, so we know you're here. It helps to know we're not alone.
I hear you. You're not alone. Thank you for being with us tonight.
We're Samnang and James, and this is S&J Pride. You're not alone. We'll see you next time.